Hello, welcome to this video. It's on entrepreneurship and new ventures. 10 topics to know. So, in regards to this video, I just want to cover 10 topics that have to do with entrepreneurship and new ventures. These are things I didn't know before, but after taking a course through a MBA program, I now have a greater insight and I feel like it's made a difference in my life and how I view things and wanted to share with others. So, without further ado, let's get started. Topic 1. Entrepreneurs will take risks, but not the big ones we see. So, entrepreneurs are considered to be big risk takers. From the outside, it looks crazy. Like, wow, they take all these crazy risks. They have no willingness to consider the ramifications. For me, it's easy to think about an analogy. Think about taking a leap of faith. It's like this gap is a big distance that they need to cover. It's a big risk. Should I jump from this side to the next? It could be risky. I might fall. Or maybe it's worth it to get on the other side because of the opportunities it provides. So from the outside, we see an entrepreneur. We see where they're at. And we don't really know what happens until the end. Meanwhile, that entrepreneur will look at that distance. Will consider it. Is it important or not? And then they'll come up with a strategy. And this strategy will help mitigate the risk and essentially break into smaller chunks. So it's almost as if they put a little mini stepping stone a little bit further from the edge. And they'll hop on that little stone as they, adjust fire to that one tiny risk. And they'll repeat this process again and again and again. And all of a sudden at the end, they have a little tiny hop to get to the other side. All because they've addressed one risk at a time, just on a much smaller scale. And then they're able to clear that whole gap. On the outside, all we see is the beginning. Wow, what a big risk. And we see the end. Wow, you made it, but that was pretty risky. It was crazy. For them, they're very calculated and knew exactly what to do to address one small risk at a time and knew it was worth their while. So they will take some risk, but it's not the crazy big ones we see. Instead, they mitigate those risks to smaller ones. Topic 2. Keep going and going. An entrepreneur may start many companies. So an entrepreneur gets an idea. How can I change the world? They get excited and understand that there's possibilities for them and to help other people. So a lot of times they'll get this idea, they'll work within themselves, work with others, do everything necessary to make it a reality. And once it's a reality, then they've made some change in the world. This change is exciting to them. But at a certain point, it's not necessarily about making more and more money. It's, all right, well, I made a difference. There's also this other idea I have. What else can I do? How can I put all my effort and energy into that idea to help make a bigger change? And you'll see this happen quite frequently with entrepreneurs where they'll have many ventures. And a common theme is after they sell one, they'll have greater funding within themselves. This allows for even more opportunities for them. And so they can have a more of an impact. They can do more grandiose things as they have more funding. So it enables greater possibilities for them as well. So entrepreneurs won't just start with one thing. They'll typically just keep going and going, one thing to the next, trying to change the world again and again. Topic 3. Failure is an option, but it's not the end. So some people have a fear of failure. They never want to fail. It's the worst thing possible. An entrepreneur doesn't consider it like that. They will work hard and do whatever they need to succeed. But they know sometimes you're going to fail. Whether that's in their control or not, it's just bound to happen in business at some point. They do not let this be the end of them. Instead, they learn from it. What happened that led to this failure? It's kind of like, Thomas Edison, the famous quote, it took 10,000 times to figure out the light bulb. He knew 10,000 ways not to make a light bulb. Entrepreneurs have that same spirit. They learn from that failure and understand, hey, this did not work for me. Here's what I can do now to keep going forward. So failure is a possibility, but it's not the end. Number 4, create your own market, a blue ocean. So certain markets are very saturated with companies and competition. One company is trying to vie for customers, the other, same thing. They go back and forth, trying to understand, hey, who can make the most money? The problem is that leads to huge discounting at times. This discounting results in poor profits and just a struggle to really make the change that they want. A blue ocean approach is the idea of creating a new market. So it's a fresh ocean. No one's there. It's not saturated with other people. They look at the existing markets and say, look, we'll make our new market by tweaking our product accordingly. This means there's no competition. A huge advantage too is that if the company is set up for this new market, they could possibly get such a head start that the barriers of entry could be difficult for other companies, enabling 10, 15 years of sole control of this new market. So having a blue ocean, creating your own market, can be a huge advantage for an entrepreneur. Number 5, wear an idea hat or a judge hat, but not both at the same time. Some people just want to make a business or want to change the world. They don't know what to do. So they know they need an idea. I just need an idea. Well, what you want to do is put on the idea hat and then just start thinking of ideas. But what can happen is you can put on an idea hat and a judge hat. So every idea you come up with, you then start to judge it instantly. Well, if you have an idea and you're judging it, well, this could work, they wouldn't work, here's the issues with this, so on and so on. Well, you're not as creative anymore because you're being more analytical. And that's hindering your process in creating multiple ideas. And so each hat, so to speak, is very beneficial. But what you want to do is wear one at a time. Be creative and allow yourself to have the time and freedom just to generate ideas. This is best in a creative environment, usually something a little bit different, maybe outside of your normal working conditions, and an opportunity where you just think and let ideas flow. And then once you capture a whole lot of ideas, maybe up to 100, a couple hundred even, then go ahead and go back, put that judge hat on, and look at each one, determine, what's the quality of this idea? Is it any good? I mean, odds are there's going to be some that are better than others, and some that you might laugh at, like, well, why did I even come up with this? But that's okay, and that's why we're going to judge to say, are any of these ideas worth pursuing? And if so, then you have a possible business to enter. Number 6. Recycle and reinvent the wheel. I worked with a lot of people who said, don't reinvent the wheel, don't reinvent the wheel. And I understand that process because, hey, if we have a standard operating procedure, then why change it? Like, why try to do something differently? We have an efficient way to get the job done. But when it comes to ideas in business, recycling and reinvention, huge. So reinvention, I mean, think about a telephone. It was invented in 1876. Think about if no one changed the idea of a telephone, how different the world would be. Instead, now we have computers on our phone that can do, countless things for us. It makes our lives very easy and able to connect with other people on a, second by second basis, whether it's directly through a call or a text message or, indirectly through social media. So, I mean, telephones being reinvented again and again, huge lucrative business, of course. Recycling ideas is taking this concept of, what works in one part of the world, but your culture is lacking it. Well, why not take that idea, integrate it within your culture, and say, look, this same concept will work for us too. Starbucks is a classic example of this. Howard Schultz went to Italy and noticed the vibe of the coffee shops there and decided to rework, the coffee shop here in America, creating more of a lounging, relaxing experience for people to relax and, read or socialize. So the wheel is effective, but reinventing it could also lead to some great things, or recycling it. So taking an idea and reworking it to fit your culture can also be very beneficial for not only you, but the culture as well. Number 7, the customer is essential, but not always right. So this concept has to do with the lean startup approach. And within that lean startup approach, you're going to create a minimum viable product. This means the least amount of effort, money put into a product to get out to the customers. And the goal here is to talk with the customers and get effective research and feedback on the product. Are they willing to buy it? What feedback do they have on it? You'll want to get their feedback. That's essential so that you can create a product that they actually want. But just because they want one thing doesn't mean you cater exactly to them for that thing. You have to consider what are your capabilities, both in intelligence, knowledge, capabilities, resources, funding, and what's more likely to be effective for the general population. And so their feedback from the customer is essential so that you can tweak and adjust your product as needed. But they're not always right in that you're not going to cater exactly to what they need. Perhaps you can make a different approach that will still meet the needs of the customer, but it'll fall within your budgetary or capability framework. Number 8, one sheet with all the power. This has to do with business plan. So people know, hey, business model, business plan, essential to have. What a lot of people do, especially in small businesses, they get stuck. Their focus goes from broad to very narrow. They focus on the daily activities. I need to do this, this, this. Hey, did you clock in? Did you clock out? And what happens is they lose track of the business as a whole. And as the business owner, you need to understand, how does the business operate as a whole entity, and what progress is it making? Having a one-sheet business plan can enable someone to see, where are we spending our money? Where are we getting our money in? Is this effective? Do we need to make adjustments? And having it on one sheet gives a very global view of the business in itself. And so this is going to help the business owner understand how the business is working overall, and perhaps what adjustments they need to make on a daily basis. So a business model and plan is important, but having it on the one sheet can help to facilitate that large global view as well. Number 9, having a people network is key if it is true to you. We often hear how important networking is. You gotta know people, you gotta talk to people, you gotta build relationships. So a lot of individuals, particularly students at any type of conference, will just think, I gotta meet people. Hi, I'm Joe. It's just ridiculous, because then you're not actually getting to know anybody. You're not building any relationship that's sustainable. And sure, maybe in the temporary you might get something useful, but over the long term, those other individuals are going to think you're some fake or phony that isn't really a person worth their time. So a network is critical. You can bounce ideas off with each other. You can help learn and grow and share information. Shared contacts lead to new business. Phenomenal things can occur. But that happens when you meet the right people, you are yourself, and you make a genuine effort to help each other out, to be there, to follow within your own values of who you are as an individual. And it's through these relationships that over time can pay increasingly dividends. But again, it's not only what you can get from them, but being willing to offer them help at any time. And by having this give and take approach, helping each other out on a constant basis, and doing so without complaint, now that can make for a very powerful, external team in this sense. And having that type of resource is invaluable to any entrepreneur. Number 10, have an idea to exit, but focus on the business. It's only fitting that the last topic will be on exiting. So an organization may start up and think, hey, I'm going to focus I'm making money and that's it. That's all I need to care about. The problem is life is uncertain. As a business owner, your health may be great, it may be good, but that may change over time. Same thing with family or friends, people close to you. If those things change, that might influence how much time you want to spend at your business. Or, not to mention, there's things like the market, regulation, taxes, other technologies, numerous other things that are outside your control that can dramatically influence your business. A failure to have an exit strategy may result in, a failure to maximize profits in the long term. Having an exit strategy can provide some guidance in the long term of, is it more likely you'll get bought out, that you'll want to, sell everything, or, that you'll want to transfer ownership to family members or the employees? That can help provide some effective guidance. But some people focus on, we must sell our business. We must sell our business. And that is not an effective way to run the business, because the overall value of the business is highly dependent on what you do on a day-to-day basis. If your focus is on selling the business, then you're not worried about giving value to your customers, which in turn gives value to your business. So, while it's important to have an exit strategy, the focus still should be on driving value to your customers, which will drive the value of the business up. So that have been the 10 topics in regards to entrepreneurship and new ventures. It's this concept of what makes an entrepreneur. They will take some risks, but they're not big. They're going to keep going and going, starting new companies. We talked about creating a new market. We talked about creating ideas and not judging those ideas. We talked about having a business plan, but on a one page to have a big global perspective. And we talked about having an exit strategy as well. These topics are important because it gives you a different perspective on how to look at a business. Understanding just how many variables go into it, and having a conceptual framework to think about and understand. Because on a day-to-day basis, there's going to be the grind. There's going to be some successes, and there's going to be some hardships along the way. So having a constant reminder we can go back to and realize, look, if I fail, even in temporary, it's not the end of the world. How can I learn from it? How can I grow? Hopefully these concepts will either help you as you start to enter into a new venture, or perhaps even serve as a reminder of maybe some of the thinking you had prior to being engaged in the middle of this venture right now. I hope it was very helpful, and good luck to you.